Accu-Stats Video Productions presents from Reno, Nevada, the Camel 1996 Pro Billiard Series. Along with David Maddox, I'm Bill in Cardona, and David, the tournament started with 58 of the world's finest players. We're down to just 12. Unfortunately, the 1 seed is playing the 2 seed on the loser's side. Who would have thought that?
Well, this is the match that we all expected to see in the finals of the winners bracket. And, they've both each suffered 1 loss. And, you hate to say it, but one of these guys has got to go. And like you said, this is the number 1 ranked player on the tour against the number 2 ranked player on the tour. Scott Smith said it best. It doesn't get any better than this.
Tony Robles defeated Efren Reyes 11-10. He's responsible for putting Reyes on the loser side. And Rodney Morris from Hawaii defeated Johnny Archer 11-9. So therefore, those were the 2 players responsible for defeating these 2 players. And by the way, there were only 4 undefeated players left in the tournament: Morris, Robles, Varner, and one
the
other,
rifleman.
The rifleman,
Mr.
Buddy
Hall. Well, it's going to be interesting to see, as I've mentioned in earlier matches, how the break develops on this table, because it has been a stingy table as far as the break. And Johnny Archer, of course, known for his powerful break. And Efren Reyes has really improved his break over the last year, and it should be quite a match.
Archer pocketing the 1 in the upper left-hand corner, going twice cross table for position for the 2. Nicely played. Looks like he's in a reasonable line for the 2. The only problem is if he can't go forward because the 8's there.
He feels like he can go underneath the 8 and play the 3 ball either in the right-hand side. Yeah, he's gotten out far enough. He'll go 2 cushions to the left of the 7. He had a little steeper angle than I thought. And he needs to be sure. I thought he might stick on top of the 8. He's fallen perfect position on the 6.
Reyes' defeat was really heartbreaking for Reyes because he had a shot when it was 10 apiece, and it looked like he had a real good opportunity to get out, but he missed a 2-ball shot that everyone in the room figured that he would make, including naturally Reyes, but he missed it, and Tony Robles jumped out of the chair and then proceeded to run out the rest of the balls and just snatched the victory from Reyes. And it was really an exciting match. Archer really got a hold of a red-hot Rodney Morris, and really he couldn't do anything about it. Morris is really playing well right now. The first rack's going to go to Johnny Archer. He'll take the early 1-0 lead in this match. Since the players have adopted the box to break from, I think that it's been really an experience, because there's been a lot of fouls on the break in regard to not only scratching in a pocket but also jumping off the table. So they have to be particularly careful to control the cue ball so it stays on the bed of the table. That means they have to hit the shot accurately, the break shot that is. And if they can continue to hit the 1 ball squarely, they'll probably get to 11 first. Whoever hits the 1 ball square will probably get to 11 first, because that's really the key in this particular match, hitting the 1 ball on the break.
Well, as you mentioned last night, and we'd had discussed it, breaking from anywhere behind the head string yielded a foul on the break 10% of the time. And it just feels like, and we're not going to be able to tell statistically how it works until there are 3 or 4 tournaments accounted for, but it seems like it's going to be more than 10% breaking it from the box.
Yeah, and I gave you my guess. My guesstimate was about 13%, so I think that it's even going to be higher than that after taking another look at it for a complete day. I've been watching a lot of the matches, and I think that every player is averaging well over 1 scratch per match. So therefore, I think that the average scratch per 11 games is going to be up in the 1.56 area, maybe even close to 2. It's hard to control the cue ball breaking from the box, and a lot of ill-fated things happen, a lot of mishaps. Reyes at the table, one of the greatest players that has ever played this game.
Well, Johnny, Efren came to the table because Johnny ended up dry on the break, and that shows that as powerful as he is on the break, this table doesn't always yield a ball on the break.
The feature table has been breaking rather stubbornly the entire tournament. I've heard a lot of the players talking about how tough it is to pocket balls on the feature table. So that's going to hurt Johnny a little bit more than Reyes, since Johnny is a little more productive on the break than Reyes. And he needs every bit of that productivity to stay with Reyes. So therefore, if he's unable to pocket balls on the break, then I think that he's going to really have his work cut out for him. Reyes, I believe, is the better technician, and he has more shots than Johnny. Johnny, more of a power player. But it's still an interesting matchup, and when you get to two players the caliber of Archer and Reyes, anything can happen. Any man could win. Game number 2 goes to Reyes, who ties up the match at 1 game apiece.
Well, Billy, these tables have really been playing well this week. I know that you've commented on it several times, and AMF is going to be the equipment sponsor for the Pro Tour throughout the Camel Pro Billiard Series, and we're playing on the Advantage model of the AMF table. And while the pockets are not as large as they would be on a home model table, they're not shimmed, so that means that the rubber is cut longer, and that makes the pocket smaller, but it plays more consistently than a shimmed pocket. And the tables have really played well this week.
Reyes pocketing a ball on a break and got a pretty good kiss there at the head end of the table. Had he not got that kiss, the one ball would have then rested against the bottom cushion. So I think he's feeling pretty good about that. Not only is he feeling good about that, he already has a game on his side at the table, and they're looking to put another one on his side. 2-ball position near the right-hand side pocket, the 4 near the foot spot, the 5 near the side cushion. 6 balls, the ball near the lower left-hand corner.
I'm not sure that we won't see Efren shoot the 2 in the lower right-hand corner. The 7 and 9 obstructed him from playing position for the 2-ball in the side, and this is going to work out fine. There's no particular obstacles in this rack.
Efren Reyes is really a master of the game. Plays all games excellent. He just won a straight pool tournament, and I believe it was in Maine, Portland, Maine. He just won the 8-ball World Championships. Naturally, he's the 9-ball World Champion, or a former 9-ball World Champion. He plays a world-class 3 cushion, and he may be the best bulk line player in the world today. He shoots as well as anyone opposite hand, and besides that, he plays pretty good with his right hand too.
Well, let's not forget your favorite discipline, and that would be one pocket. He is definitely. I don't know how you feel if you feel like he's the best one pocket player. He's certainly the most creative.
Well, he's in a league by himself when it comes to one pocket. I don't think anyone can come close to Reyes playing one pocket. Matter of fact, I have always thought that once he took up the one pocket game, that he would really, he would dominate the one pocket players, and he certainly has done that.
Terrorize anybody that happens to challenge him at that.
No, then I also neglected to mention that he's also the best rotation player in the world. So, with those kind of credentials, how can you argue the point who the best player in the world is? Efren Reyes, in my opinion, is the best player in the world. But playing 9-ball is a different story because the break is such a significant factor in the game of 9-ball. And as you notice, he really doesn't have the strongest break in the world.
Well, again, the table rather stingy.
There's a lot of congestion on the left side of the foot spot. I'll describe exactly what's going on over there. The 3 balls to the left of the foot spot. And then there's 3 balls, the 9, 5, and 7 in that order, 9 being the ball on the bottom, 7 is the ball on top of the 5. The 4 balls resting on the bottom cushion, the 8 near the left-hand side pocket, the green ball, the 6 is up the farther end of the table near the side rail. Archer immediately finds himself with a problem. I don't believe he can cut the 2 in the side, so he's going to have to play some sort of a safety here. He'll probably try to roll the cue ball behind the 8 if that's available, setting the cue ball, setting the 2 ball in between the 7 and 8. If that's available, I look for him to do that. That wasn't available, but he did roll the 2 ball in between the 7 and 8, positioning the cue ball behind the wall of balls, the 5, 7, and 9, but he may have found the window. There's a slight window in between the 5 and the 7, and by Archer's body language, unfortunately for him, that is, he's found that window. Reyes, with that look of concentration on his face, and when this man concentrates, he's unstoppable if he's given an opportunity.
Well, Johnny had to play safe because he came up a little short when he was playing position. He intended to play position for the 2 ball in the side and came up a little bit short, so ended up having to play the safety.
I'm very interested to see what he's going to do here. He positioned the cue ball in this area of the table for some reason. I don't know what it was, though, because from my vantage point, he really can't do much offensively. If he's looking to cut the 3 in the side, that'll work, because if he happens to miss it, the 7 ball may be an interfering ball, and hook Archer behind the 7. Look what he's done. He tried to cut the 3 in the side, using the side rail to loosen up the 5 and the 9, at the same time playing shape for the 4. Had he missed the 3, which obviously he has, then he used the 5s and 7 as blockers. Archer steps to the table. He does have a kick on the 3, I do believe, but he has to use a lot of English and create an angle. After pocketing the 3, if he's able to do that, he's going to have his hands full again, because the 4 ball rests on the bottom cushion. So really, he's really in an unenviable position. Trailing 2-1, looking at this, I wouldn't want to be him.
He was teasing us with acting like he was going to jump the ball. He's going to go one rail. He's going to go all out to make the 3. If he hits it, it almost has to go.
And he has to hit it with some speed. And by having to hit it with a lot of speed, he lost the English that he had on the cue ball. The English isn't going to take as much, because the cue ball is going too quickly for the English to grab. So therefore, that's why he came up short on that particular kick. Had he hit that kick a lot slower or softer, he probably would have pocketed the 3, but he would have been once again in no man's land. So therefore, he didn't really have a choice there. He had to hit it with some velocity, and that's why he wasn't able to contact the 3. Reyes at the table. This really isn't a real easy out. You know, the 6 and the 8 are both on the cushion, the 8 in the other side pocket. He still has to stay focused here.
You know what I'm thinking, Billy, as I think back on the shot that Johnny had on the 3, given that all he could do was make the 3 and then possibly play a safety off of the 4, he may have been advised to try to tie something up instead of trying to kick at the 3 and make it. Because if he had moved the 7 into the area of the 8, he could have done something like that and made the run out more difficult for Efren.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and it does have merit, but don't forget the position of the 3. It was in the side pocket, and even if he did tie something up, Reyes had the ability to position the cue ball anywhere he wanted to, and most likely would have untied it. But when you try to tie something up against Efren Reyes, it's usually not very successful, because he's without a doubt the master of circumvention. He can really get around things and get out of traps so much easier than all the other players.
That looked like a Mike Massey draw shot as well as he hit that.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot, and I'm sorry I didn't bring that to the attention of the viewers, but of course they saw it, so needless to say, it spoke for itself. Game number 4 goes to Reyes, and now he leads the match by 3 games to 1. Now, the last time he broke the balls, he really didn't put much velocity on the break. He more or less tried to control the cue ball, realizing that the possibility of fouling on the break is much better now than it was when you were allowed to break from the rail. So he took off a lot of velocity on the break. Let's see if he does the same this time. Maybe he'll increase the speed Let's find out. Once again, they're really not hitting them as hard as Archer, or not nearly as hard as Archer, but this time he's gotten fairly good results, at least in the regard of pocketing a ball on the break. Very quickly, the 3 is frozen on the bottom cushion, and the 5 is in front of the lower left-hand corner. The 5 is off the rail far enough to make the 3-5 combination play rather difficult. I don't know what he plans to do here, but whatever it is, he's going to have his work cut out for him.
Well, he's elevating the cue.
He's going to have to watch out here. If he finds the bottom of the cushion, Archer will then have ball in hand, and he can take care of the problem of the 3. But that's not the case. He managed to stay away from the scratch. I can't see from my vantage point, David. Is he corner hooked?
I believe he is corner hooked, Billy.
Archer got up to try to take a peek at it himself because the suspense was just too much for him, I guess. You know, when you're playing F and Reyes, you're just hoping that something stops him because he's certainly not going to stop himself.
Well, he is. That's a great view. Great camera work from our illustrious cameraman, Rick.
Well,
Polly.
from that angle, it looks like he is corner hooked. Well, I'm looking to see him masse this. He'll get up in the air, like so. Masse around the corner. He's the master at this. Getting a good hit off of the masse, and also it looks like he's tied up. Unless the 3 passes the 9. If the 3 passes the 9, then he'll play the 3 off the 5. If he can get that 3 past the 9, he's got sideboards on both the 9 and the 5 to pocket the 3.
You know what he may do is just bunt the 3 behind the 9. And just, yeah. If he makes it, he's got a shot. If it happens to not go in, it's how does he hit it?
Scott.
Now what do you do here? If I was him, I'd reposition the 4 ball up the other end of the table. That's the only thing he can possibly do. He's not going to allow Archer at the table where he can play easy position on the 4. So he's going to reposition the 4 in an area on the table where when Archer gets ball in hand, he won't be able to do much good with it, and that's really a heady play. Not only is he a great player in terms of execution, but he's probably one of the most intelligent players in the world also. Now, if I was Archer,
could he take an intentional foul and bump the 9 down into that area where Efren can't hit it and can't place the cue ball down between the 5 and 3? Might try to foul him out.
can he do what? Can he bump the 9 where? No.
No, he can't. I see that. I see the cue ball goes between the 5 and the cushion.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I was Archer, I might try to put the 9 in front of the 3.
Well, that's what I was saying.
yeah,
where if he took ball in hand, he would have no place to put the ball
you have to,
make the hit.
You have to be careful that, or put the 5 in front of the 3, but you have to be careful not to pocket the 3. If you pocket the 3, then you can forget about winning this rack.
Right.
Now, if he pockets the 3 and hopes to go up table for position on the 4 to play some sort of a safety off the 4, that's okay. But he has to be very accurate with his position, or else he'll be up against it. But I'd really consider positioning the 5 a little closer to the 3.
Well, I agree with you, and the reason is because it's of the position of the 4. I mean, there's really nothing he can do to get on the 4.
I don't know if that was a good hit. The 5 ball moved unless he hit it with the tip of his stick. Maybe we can go back to that after this rack is over and take another look at it. You viewers at home can go back and take a look at it now. The 5 moved. He probably hit it with the tip of his stick, though.
Crossing the 4, very nice shot.
We got really lucky there because he double kissed the 4, and you know, he didn't really hit that shot where he wanted to hit it, but he's still in pretty good shape. Reyes is unable to to see the 4. He's going to probably have to masse it.
Well,
Now, this is a type of a shot that I really wouldn't be surprised to see him make it.
I wouldn't either, Billy, especially given the position of the 4 ball in relation to the cushion. It's off about maybe between a quarter and a half an inch, probably half an inch looking at it on the monitor.
But the problem with this shot is if he masses around the 7 and pockets the 4, the cue ball may get away from him. What he's trying to do now, but he doesn't have the room, he's trying to go to the cushion and then very thinly hit the 4, sending the cue ball across table, hopefully near or close to that side cushion without getting much movement from the 4. He can't do that because the 7 ball precludes him from doing that. He's taking another look at it, and I don't think he has the room there. He can't hit the part of the rail that he needs to hit to execute that particular shot. But I think eventually what we're going to see him masse the 4. No, he has to go out. Now he's going back to the other shot. That's the shot. Well, he hit it with much softer speed, and that way he assured himself that the cue ball and the 4 ball would not. He would be able to control both the cue ball and the 4 ball. Most importantly, the 4 ball. Archer has a good shot here, David, and that's the position the cue ball behind the 7. That shot lays rather natural, but you got to be careful, and you can't get careless here. You
Not
can't
to
get
hit the
careless.
7 going in. Right.
Okay, now he's repositioned the cue ball behind the 7 and the 8. Once again, Reyes steps to the table with nothing to shoot at. But you know as well as I do, and everyone else in this room who knows Reyes, is that whenever you leave Reyes a kick, you can rest assured he's going to make contact. The thing is, what's going to happen after he makes contact? Is he going to play some sort of a safety, or is he going to get some action off of the kick? He's very dangerous kicker. He's going to scratch in the side pocket.
Well, that's very unfortunate.
Archer would like to end up in the middle of the table for position on the 5. That way he don't have to be concerned about going into the 9. Playing position for the 6 in the upper right-hand corner, but now it looks like he's going to play position for the 6 in the upper left-hand corner because he hasn't got over far enough. This game really didn't come easy for Archer, even though he hooked Reyes a couple times in this particular game. He still had to work hard to earn this game. This is game number 5 after pocketing the 9, if Archer does, which there shouldn't be any problem here. Then he'll come to within 1 game of the lead, trailing in the match 3 games to 2. Now, we'll all have an opportunity to watch Archer breaking them. We've been watching Reyes breaking the last 2 to 3 racks, and he's really taking a lot of velocity off of his break. Archer, I think, he goes ahead and he breaks them hard because that's where he gets paid off. He gets paid off with his ability to break the balls, and he's not going to allow the box to intimidate him. He's going to go ahead and then break the balls because he's actually regarded as perhaps the best breaker in the country today, or the world, I should say. Yep, he's got a lot of energy in that break, and he hasn't made a ball on the break. Like I mentioned before, also David, the featured table is a very, very stubborn table in terms of pocketing balls on the break, and regardless of how hard you hit them, for some reason, the table just doesn't want to give up balls. And so this is certainly an equalizer in the eyes of Reyes, that is. In other words, he says, well, if I can take away Archer's break and equalize that area of the game, I really like my chances.
Threading the needle position on the 2.
He certainly did. That was what Danny DiLiberto refers to as field goal position in between 2 balls like that. Now he's going to use the 6 ball to impede the progress of the cue ball, stop it, get in their area where he needs to be.
He would have liked for the cue ball to go down a few more inches, but he's going to have to go to the rail between the 5 and the upper left-hand corner and back up. Now he may have to go under the 5 and play the 5 in the same pocket as the 4. He got a little steep on the angle.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to go underneath the 5 here, and he has to be concerned about running into the 6. But even if he runs into the 6, he still has an chance to come up with a shot. With no problem positioning the cue ball once again with relative ease, in perfect line this time.
I love to watch Efren hit those shots where he cues the ball so far out, spin the object ball in.
Well, this isn't the best spot in the world to end up in. He's quite a distance from the 8, and he's got a clumsy angle. If you notice, the 8 ball almost didn't go in, and now the position on the 9 is a little suspect also, considering, how comfortably he was shooting the 5 and the 6.
Right.
He should have attained a better shot on the 7 to drop nicely for the 8, but nevertheless, he still does his job. At the end of game number 7, Reyes now leads, at the end of game number 6, Reyes now leads in the match with a score of 4 games to 2. There's the 9.
And the 3. He made 2 balls on the break that time, the 9 ball and the 3.
With the 9 on the break, Reyes places another bead on his side of the wire. And with that bead, he now has 5. Archer still has 2. Archer very dejectedly throws the rack under the table, takes his seat. Reyes goes to the table in preparation to break the balls. This is game number 8.
9 ball probably moved less than 3 inches. Oh, he got a roll. He got it rolling.
Reyes is having a lot of success breaking the balls with that soft speed of his. It's not that speed is going to. I don't think that the speed of the break is going to really win for you here. I think that you're going to have to use a little finesse on the break, sort of like change things around a little bit.
Change up.
Yeah. Now, Archer's going to school right now in regard to watching Reyes break the balls. I'm curious to find out the next time he's at the table breaking the balls if he lets up a little bit on his break.
Efren electing to play safe. He was trying to put the cue ball where the 5 blocked the path. And I believe Johnny can strike the right-hand side of the 1.
If he cannot hit the 1, he can go rail first and hit the side of the 1 softly. But don't forget the position of the 2 and also the 3 and 9 down at the bottom cushion. You really don't want to position the 1 where Reyes can do something with that problem area. The 3 will pass into the corner pocket. There's enough room to hit the 3 to pocket it, but in order to pocket the 2, you have to be in perfect position. You don't want to leave your opponent with a shot on a 1 in an angle to attain that position. Look at Reyes cutting the 1 ball in, setting the cue ball down 2 cushions. Unfortunately, he bumped the 3 and sent it out of play unless he does have a 3-9 combination. If he can't attain the angle to make the 3-9 combination, he'll just kick it in.
That was a brilliant shot he made on the 1. Tremendous speed. Oh, man.
You know what he tried to do? He tried to pocket the 2 and draw the cue ball into the 9, pushing the 3 in front of the pocket. He miscued in his attempt to do that. Now Archer's bending over the table and he's trying to figure out whether or not it's worth it to just pocket the 2 and play the 3-9 combination, or he has an option of breaking loose the 9 from the 3. If he likes the combination, which evidently he does, he's going to try to make a short rack out of it. So therefore, he played position for the 3-9 combination. He's betting his money it better. He trails in the match 5 games to 2. He can ill afford to miss this.
He's cut into the lead. The score now 3 games for Johnny Archer, 5 games for Efren Reyes.
Okay, now we have the opportunity to see now if Archer went to school and if he learned anything. Remember, Reyes is getting much better action breaking the balls because he's breaking the balls softer than Archer. Archer has a sledgehammer break, but it's not paying off for him. Now he's gone to school, he's watched Reyes break the balls. Let's see if he takes anything off his break.
Well, he's gone to the very center of the table, and that's not where Efren has been breaking from.
But that's where he went to when I played in the center of the table, and he got good results going to the center of the table. And then once again, he's come up dry on the break.
The 9.
No, the 9's not going to find the pocket. He's come up dry on the break. But fortunately, the 5 ball came between the 1 ball and the cue ball, not allowing Reyes to see the 1. And to make matters worse, the 9's hanging in the corner pocket.
We saw Johnny trying to do a little dance. He was trying to do the rain dance to get the 9 ball to fall in the corner. It's great that in a situation as tension-filled as this, he can, have a little humor about him.
Well, what encouraged him to come out with a little humor was that 5 ball coming in between the 1 and the cue ball. Had that 5 ball not been there, I don't think we would have seen any humorous act on his part.
Right. Well, he may have been doing the hook dance. Is that what you're saying?
He would have been giving you that ugly face and that, that dejected look. But of course, that 5 ball being in between the 1 ball and the cue ball makes Archer a tremendous favorite in this particular rack. Reyes positioning the cue ball near the side rail, not pocketing the 9, allowing Archer at the table. Archer can see the outside of the 1, but in order to control the cue ball, placing it behind the 5 and trying to bank the 1 down table is a very, very difficult task. Is he up to it, or is he going to give it back to Reyes?
I think he should pass it back, Billy. I don't really see anything. He can't do anything offensively. And defensively, if there were more balls for congestion at the upper end of the table, maybe to try to play a safety. But he's not going to be able to get enough movement out of the 1 as thinly as he's going to have to contact it. So I like him giving it back.
From my vantage point, I myself would pass because I bent over and I saw that he really can't see enough of the 1 ball to assure himself that after contact he's going to slow up the cue ball and keep it behind the 5. So therefore, he's going to have to allow Reyes to shoot this shot. I think Reyes is in a lot of trouble here. He's positioned the cue ball in an area on the table where if he had to do it all over, he wouldn't position it there. He's looking to position the cue ball where he set that chalk on the other rail. But what's going to happen to the 1? I think that he's going to have to hit the 1 ball too thinly. He's not going to get enough movement off the 1.
Well, he's trying to use the 5 ball as a blocker, and I agree with you. I think that Johnny's decision to pass this shot was the right one.
Plus, there's a lot of holes there. You see, there's a big hole in between the 5 and the 4. I don't know if he's found that hole or not. Johnny seems to think he has because he hasn't shown any signs of disgust, or he doesn't seem unhappy about the results. He's got a very, very long, difficult shot on the 1 here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to pocket the 1, sending the cue ball in the direction of the 7, maybe creating a little bit of action in that regard, but I don't know if he's going to do that or not. Let's take a look.
Well, he's looking at the line from possibly playing the 9 ball. Well, Efren executed his safety attempt as well as could be expected from the position he was in.
I didn't think that he could do that. I bent over, and from my vantage point, I didn't think that he could do that, but apparently I was wrong. That's an excellent shot.
What
I'm
a
going to say that
great
was an
shot.
excellent
What a
shot.
great shot.
I mean that you cannot hit a ball any better than the ball what he just did. Believe me, that was a great shot. And after game number 9 now, Archer Call comes to within only 1 game of the lead, trailing 5 games to 4. That was a really a good shot. Okay, now Archer has broken from the the corner of the box area several times without any success, and then now he repositioned the cue ball. The last time he broke him, he went to dead center and came up dry on the break. Let's see if he still goes back to the center. Usually you'll try something twice, but no more than twice. He's already tried the center once. He tried the end of the box 2 or 3 times. Let's see if he goes back to the center again, or if he goes back to the side, or the end of the box, and lets up a little bit on the velocity.
He's gone to the right side of the box this time, as he views it.
No, he let up a little bit on that break, but you wouldn't think, as well as he broke them, but he did let up a little bit on the break. Unfortunately, he has come up dry again. I do believe Reyes can pocket the 1. I'm not quite sure because I really don't have the angle to tell for sure.
I believe he can pocket the 1 in the side, shooting straight at it. This rack really there's not much problem in this rack.
Now, considering the position Reyes left himself in, he's going to go 2 cushions, playing position for the 3. He would have liked to have fallen a little higher on the 2. That way he would have had natural position and an angle on the 3 to pocket the 3 and draw the ball back up table for the 4. He's going to have to go 2 cushions, but he has to be careful that he doesn't reposition the cue ball in an area where he's going to need to shoot the 3 with a bridge. Because I'm certainly sure we've all been in that spot before, and shooting a long shot like that with the bridge, having to draw back up table, is not something that I would like to do.
Somewhere between the 5 and the 7.
No, he played the high side of it, so that way he won't have to use the bridge. But the 5 ball became an obstacle now.
It sure is. Well, as well as he struck the draw shot on the 7 ball, and I believe it was the second game, he's really striking the ball very purely, and that shot, he made that look easy.
He would like to position the cue ball in the same area that it's in now for the 5. He's fallen a little short of that, but of course, I think this is workable, providing that the angle's not too severe.
Well, he's going to have to. I believe he's going to have to go down and back up on the right-hand side of the 8 and back up. Oh, there wasn't as much angle there as I thought.
Well, what we just saw there is really a rarity. It's not often you're going to see Reyes make an unforced error of that nature. Trust me, I've never seen him do that. I mean, what he just did was something that, well, you wouldn't believe it unless you saw it. That's so uncharacteristic of the way he plays.
He's going to have to go to the end rail. He was attempting to pocket the 6 ball in the upper left-hand corner, and he's left Johnny in a situation where he has the option to bank the 6-1 cushion or to play a safety with using the 9 ball.
If Johnny can reach it, I look for him to try to position the cue ball behind the 9. Going for the bank is a tough shot, and also attaining a shot on the 7 might be difficult too. So therefore, that compounds the problem of banking the 6. That's why I think he should strongly consider positioning the cue ball behind the 9. If he can reach it comfortably, and that means that if he can reach it comfortably, he can control the cue ball, a little easier. If he can do that, I'd consider positioning the cue ball behind the 9.
He's cueing it low outside. That's where he's going.
Well, he wasn't able to get it behind the 9, and now Reyes steps to the table with an option. He can bank the 6 cross side, or he can play some sort of a safety himself.
I think we're going to see him play safe. That's as safe as it gets when you're running out, I guess, huh?
That's exactly right. That's about as safe as you can play there.
Yep. I think that shot might have been a little bit of disgust on his last, his last position effort. He's like, I'm shooting, you know. And he shot a very aggressive shot to bank the 6.
Well, that may have been a frustration shot. It could have been, but the way he hit it, there was no indecision there. Trust me.
No.
Whether it was because he was, you know, disappointed in his last inning at the table and he wanted to avenge it, or possibly he just liked the angle. Well, doesn't really matter, does it? He won the game. Game number, I believe, 10 goes to Reyes, and he now leads in the match by 6 games to 4.
We can see the banners, the Pro Billiards Tour banner, the Simonis banner. That's the official cloth of the Pro Billiards Tour, and it's the Simonis 860. And I believe that after this tournament, that in future tournaments, the cloth is going to be camel colored. It's a kind of a dark khaki color, and that's brought on by the Camel sponsorship in the Camel Pro Billiards series, and it should be interesting to see how the players adjust to that, and how it looks for the camera. There are a lot of positive things about it.
Archer in his chair really is having a hard time dealing with this because he's usually the player who gets paid off on the break. But not so in this match. Reyes is the player that has supposedly the inferior break, but he's the player that's getting paid off for it. Running into the 3, creating a little bit of a problem for himself. On this particular shot, he's going to have to either draw the cue ball back in between the 4 and the 9, or force it out enough so that he can cut the 4. And I don't really know what type of an angle he has. I really can't see it from my vantage point. He may even go forward if the 4 is far enough away from the rail. Now that's a pretty good shot right there. It looks like that he's drawing it back. Watch out, if he hits the 9, he might find himself in a little bit of a trouble, but not that time. It looks like he can cut the 4 in. I don't know, he's scratching his head. That means that he can't. And that's a telltale sign. And whenever Reyes goes to his head, he's in trouble. Where he went wrong was drawing the ball and getting him back as quickly and as fast as he did. Had he drawn the ball softer, he wouldn't have ended up in the position that he's in. But of course, it's very difficult to play flawless pool.
After his attempting safety, Johnny's straight in on the 4 on the side, but the jaws of the pocket, it's not exactly as easy as it may appear.
But
you were,
go ahead, David.
You were speaking of the break a minute ago, and looking over the Accu-Stats score sheet, Johnny has made a ball on the break 50% of the time, 2 out of 4, or 50% of the time, and Efren has made a ball 83% of the time on the break. So that's an interesting statistic that you would probably think would be the other way around.
Yes, and if Efren is more productive on the break than Archer, that spells big problems for Archer.
Right. Well, that's 2 instances in this match that Efren, it would have appeared that Efren got out, and in one case, he snookered himself on the 7, and in the other situation, right there, he just got on top of the 4 and didn't run out. So that's 2 position errors that we're really unaccustomed to see Efren making, especially given the position of the 4 ball.
Well, you really can't blame Efren. The last time he was at the table, you can't find him at fault because he made a nice shot on the 3 ball. He went into the 9, and the 9 ball kissed him closely to the 4, and then he was unable to pocket the 4 because of the position he was left in. But really, he can't really be at fault because of that. he made a good shot. He executed the shot well enough to come up with the shot. I thought perhaps he was just a little ill-fated. Archer trailing in the match by only 1 game now, 6 games to 5. And the way the match has been going, all of a sudden, look at this.
Now that time he took some off the break. He went to the spot that Efren was breaking from, took some off the break, pocketed 2 balls, and one of them was a 9.
Well, with the pocketing of the 9 on the break in game number 12, that was game number 12. The match is tied up at 6 games apiece.
Johnny inspecting the rack. It's okay. Well, he found the spot and he found the velocity. I mean, it was a noticeable decrease in the speed that he hit him.
Six in the side, no. 7 in the side, no. Nothing for you, Archer. Nothing for you.
That time he didn't hit the 1 as squarely as he would have liked. It went off of the right-hand side, his right-hand side of the 1. And the 2 ball, I believe, passes in the side, and there's not really much work in this rack.
Well, he's got to get a good angle to get from the 3 to the 4. That's the problem in this rack. He doesn't want to be on this side of the 3 ball, and now he has to stretch. He really shouldn't be happy with his position on the 3. He's not. I noticed that he shook his head. He's not really happy with himself. He hasn't really played an Efren Reyes. This is really not an Efren Reyes performance, I should say, up to this point. You know, hooking himself behind the 7, finding himself on the wrong side of the 3, needing to stretch. So he's really unhappy with his game right now. But of course, he'll probably manage to get it together in a very, very short period of time.
It was nice control. 2 rails of missing the 9 in the upper right-hand corner. On the adjacent table, Leonardo Andam is ahead of Reed Pierce, 8 games to 4. And Kunihiko Takahashi trails Kim Davenport 3 games to 5. Tony Ellen leads Scott Kiddo 7 games to 3.
Reyes winning game number 13. Once again takes the lead in the match now with the score being 7 games for Reyes, 6 for Archer. Tony Ellen is playing very well. I've just played him. Matter of fact, I entered this tournament. For those of you out there that don't think I ever enter tournaments, I entered this tournament. And, you know, I finished 13th through 16th, and I was really happy with my finish. I didn't play all that well, but I'm happy with my finish. But I did play Tony Allen in the last match, and he ran 5 racks on me, and he's breaking the balls really extremely well. He's breaking them with a lot of power, and as stubbornly as these tables are in regards to giving up balls on the break, Tony was able to overpower the table, and he made a lot of balls on the break on me, and he really put down some nice pull on me, which I really think that he's one of the players out there on the loser side that I'd be fearful of if I was on the winner side. Very nicely positioned. That is the cue ball behind the 5. I mean, that was what actually that was his priority right there, positioning the cue ball behind the 5. If the bank went in, so be it. Then I'll go ahead and try to run out. But my priority will be positioning the cue ball behind the 5. No one does it any better than Reyes. Notice how solidly the cue ball is positioned behind the 5. Archer is really up against it here. Even if he happens to get lucky and pocket the 2, the 3 ball's positioned down this end of the table. No chance of attaining a shot on the 3. Look how hard he hit it. Even if he would have gotten lucky and pocketed the 2, he still would have been in trouble on the 3. And then the 9 even sits in front of the 3 to make matters worse for him. So therefore, in that particular instance, he was really up against it. Efren steps to the table now. He leads in the match 7-6. He has a shot for the side pocket, and he can go 3 cushions around. But don't forget, the route that he has to take looks like there's a possible scratch. So he's going to have to make sure he doesn't hit it hard enough to scratch.
I think he's going to lengthen it out and go between the 9 and the end rail. He hit a little shorter.
But notice how
Excellence.
beautifully he controls the cue ball in terms of speed. You know, I mean, there are a lot of players that would realize the only way I could get position is go 3 cushions around. But they wouldn't be able to understand the speed of the shot as well as he did. And a lot of players would have been picking the ball out of the pocket now, too. Reyes isn't going to allow that to happen.
Sitting down.
And a lot of players say, well, I can't hit it that hard or I'll scratch, and they end up going 2 feet short. But
Right.
he didn't. And it's the man that can do stuff like that with consistency. That's the man that's going to end up, you know, winning most of the matches and most of the tournaments. So often you find yourself coming up a foot and a half short because you're fearful of scratching. You're fearful of getting behind another ball. But when you have the ability and the touch and the finesse and the confidence, like the players that we're watching right now, then that's how the game is supposed to be played. And that's why all these people are here in attendance, because they've come to see the greatest players in the world, and they're really being treated here with Efren Reyes and Johnny Archer. Reyes leads in the match 8-6, and will once again have an opportunity to watch him break the balls with his subpar break. Controlling the cue ball very nicely, pocketing the 1 in the side. 2 ball coming down table, down, 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 and it's come down table, I think, far enough for him to be able to pocket the ball. I don't know if he has room past the 7 to pocket it. Now look at this shot. What he's trying to figure out now is, do I have the angle to go 4 cushions around the table with the cue ball? So he's going to have to be concerned about running into the 6 here and also not scratching in the corner. 1, 2. Overcutting the 2 was the reason why he didn't get the position that he needed. Scratching in the corner pocket was a delight for Archer. Jumping out of his chair, trailing in the match by 2 games, 8-6, but having the luxury of placing ball in hand anywhere on the table will certainly narrow the gap very quickly. The 4 to the 5 is the crucial part of the rack, because the 5 is the ball. If there's any ball out there that's harder to get to, less accessible, it's the 5. So therefore, even though it looks kind of like automatic, you can't get careless. You must recognize what the key ball is and make sure that you fall nicely on it if you want to win matches and if you want to run out. That's something that the champion players do with consistency. Everything else now plays rather routinely. 6 to the 7, 7 adjacent to the 8, very nicely positioned, so therefore it shouldn't be any problem. Now, only thing Archer needs to be concerned with is staying focused. Well, the stubborn Archer isn't going to allow Reyes to run away with the match. Every time it appears that Reyes is going to go ahead and run away with the match, something happens. Archer gets an opportunity at the table, and he's done well with just about every opportunity that's been presented to him. After game number 15, it's only a one-game advantage for Reyes now, 8 games to 7. This is a race to 11. Both of these players are on the loser side. Somebody has to go, and they both know it.
He's gone back to the same place he's been. He's had success on the break in the last few breaks, but he did that by decreasing the velocity on the break. Let's see if he...
The 9 was getting a lot of action toward that corner pocket. Is the 5 going to fall? It's got the English to make it fall, but not this time. Fortunately, the 4 ball found a position on the table that it may be very, very difficult for Reyes to attain an angle on the 4 to pocket it. But fortunately for Reyes, well, no, not fortunately for Reyes, the 5's hanging because he's going to have to eliminate the 5 right now. But the problem is the 4. And he really don't have a ball in the 2 or the 3 to play off the 4, to free up the 4, and to get it away from that problem area. So therefore, he's really going to have to do a lot of work to get out this rack, and all of it lies right there in that purple ball, the grape-looking ball, the 4 ball. What are you going to do? Boy, look at him looking at that ball. He said, "What? How did this ball stop here? What am I going to do?" No, that's something I would say, what am I going to do? He probably knows what he's going to do. He's playing position for the 2-9 combination, David. In the cue ball, he's allowed the cue ball to get away from him, and he cannot contact the 2. But what he cannot afford to do right now is leave the 2 in the position that it's in now, and he can't afford to reposition the 2 so that Archer has a shot on the 2 into the 4 or anything like that. But he has to move the 2 here. I think that he would fare best if he would hit it softly. Kick at it softly. He's looking to Mass say, I don't like his chances. Maybe he can hit it. I don't think he can hit it, but obviously he thinks he can, and I'm not going to argue with him.
Hit it very softly. The 7 ball contacted the cushion. It's a legal shot.
Well,
I was going to say I thought maybe we might see Archer take a break there. Well, after doing a little preliminary calculating, again I start this with a disclaimer. I've been following this match and doing Accu-Stats, and like I say, I'm not going to attest to the accuracy of these numbers. However, having said that, Johnny thus far is shooting at a 813 clip out of a possible 1,000, and Efren is shooting at a 847 clip out of a possible 1,000. So that would indicate that this is not exactly the type of match that a lot of times we see from these guys. A lot of times we see them both shoot in the 900s and very close matches. And this is a very close match, but it's been a little bit not quite as high in excellence that we normally see.
Reyes could position the cue behind the 8 and reposition the 3 ball by the 4. But of course, he thinks he likes his chances from the position that he was in. And he should know probably better than anyone. He positioned the cue ball very closely to the side rail. Now he's trying to figure out if he's able to get the 4 by the point of the side pocket. If he's really that concerned about this shot, I think that he should have taken more time and thought out the shot that he had on the 3 ball, because he had a dead safety or a dead hook on the 3 ball, and he could have repositioned the 3 ball somewhere in the area of the 4, and if Archer would have failed to hit the 3, then he could have got ball in hand and eliminated the problem with the 4. Now he has a difficult shot on the 6. He's going to have to hit it very pure, and he's going to have to hit it with a good stroke, and he's got to get back down table for the 7. Inside English, about a half an inch off the side rail. Flying inside English on the shot that carried that much of a difficulty is really
that was a phenomenal,
beautiful
shot right
watch.
there. Tremendous shot.
Just about every time Archer's come to within 1 game of the lead, Reyes turns around and wins the next game. So Archer, throughout the entirety of this match, has always been fighting an uphill battle, always looking at either a 1 or a 2-game deficit. So, and that's really wearing on a person, by the way, because you really have to try harder when you're behind. Not that you don't try hard when you're ahead, but there's more stress on you when you're fighting from behind all the time. So late in the match, that may show up. When the pressures and the stress keeps wearing on a person, wearing and wearing and wearing, even though it seems like he's holding up rather well, late in the match, it just may show up in a very crucial situation. That's why it's always good to have the lead. I mean, even for more than obvious reasons.
Right. Well, Efren has come up dry on the break this time. And we have seen him pocketing balls with regularity, and this time he came up dry. And Johnny's going to play a safety here, leaving the cue ball behind the 6 ball.
He should, when he plays a safety, he should move the 2 or the 3 here, because they're in a bad spot.
That was an excellent shot.
Really, nothing really gets by these players. They look over the table, they see where the problem area is, and they feel that if I can deal with this problem area, if I can eliminate this problem, then I can win this particular rack. Notice how softly he kicked at that shot. Unfortunately, he scratched in the side pocket. And there was a couple of ahs in the crowd, and Johnny Archer shook his head like, oh, too bad, too bad. He got a bad break, didn't he? Archer trailing 9-7. Really doesn't want to hear those ahs, does he, Dave?
No, it's both of these players have a tremendous following. They're personable guys, and nobody likes to see bad things happen to either one of them. So if something bad happens to Johnny, I'm sure he'll get his share of ahs, So Johnny's going to be rewarded for an excellent safety on his very first opportunity at the table, doing exactly what you said. I mean, he didn't miss anything. He moved the 2 ball away from the cushion, so that if he got ball in hand, it would make his run out a lot easier, and that's what he has. That's what he's facing now.
I kind of like the angle on the other side of the floor better than this angle. Now he has to go around the 5. He can't go one cushion between the 5 and the 8. That route is fraught with peril. He's got to go around the 5. He's got to have a little more steam than this. Nope, he's hit it perfectly.
Excellent.
But the angle that I like better than that angle actually was the angle on the other side of the 4, going down the other side of the table and up toward the 5 in that fashion. I think the pattern lays much easier that way. He struck that a little too hard. See, now he's on the wrong side of the ball. Now he has to travel extra distance again.
He's going to wind up playing position for the 7 in the lower left-hand corner.
That shot plays natural. He's close to the side cushion, using an unorthodox bridge. Sometimes it's difficult to use an unorthodox bridge and get good results. But the shot laid so natural, and the speed of the shot as he executed it played really nicely. This is game number 17. If Archer's able to put down the 8 and the 9, he'll once again come to within 1 game of the lead. 9-8. Once again, the unorthodox bridge. Not very comfortable shooting like that.
He was in a situation there where he could have drawn the ball to the lower right-hand cushion or hit it high and a little outside, going back across table the way he did.
But he realized by shooting it in the fashion that he did shoot it, he would be much more accurate in pocketing the 6. Game number 17 goes Archer. He once again trails in the match by 1 game, 9-8.
Does that mean it's Efren's turn to win a game?
Well, that seems to be the pattern, Dave. It is Efren's turn to win the game because that's been the pattern throughout the match. Johnny decided that now was a good opportunity for him to take a break and try to solve the problem of the break. While he's taking a break, solving the problem of the break, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, both players are back in the tournament area, And while they were on their break, David Maddox brought up a very interesting statistic. Myself thought that it was strange that Archer was in this match and was such a closely played match, because it seems to me that Reyes has been doing most of the shooting. So, can you explain
And
that to the viewers?
Yep, I sure can. And that goes, it's your observation is exactly correct. The ball count in this match thus far is 43 for Johnny and 81 for Efren Reyes, and the score is 9 games to 8. And uh, a lot of the people would wonder, oh, how can that be? Well, if you think back on the match, Johnny Archer has had a lot of short games. He made the 9 on the break. He played a combination, or he played a combination, and he played 2 billiards. So his ball count is not going to be as high. And Efren's been having to run the entire rack when he's been winning games. He hasn't gotten those early games, and that's how there can be that much disparity between the number of balls pocketed. Well, there's also a marked disparity in their total performance average. Johnny Archer's at approximately an 811 clip, and Efren Reyes is shooting an 843 clip. The reason that Efren's is higher is because he has pocketed so many more balls. He's made more errors, but he has also made a lot more balls. So Johnny finally found a spot on the table where he could make a ball on the break, and he has a decent shot at the 1. What do you think he's going to play position for the 2, Billy?
Well, the 2 is not the problem, David. The problem in this particular rack is from the 3 to the 4. The 2, if he plays the 1 on the side, he'll go 3 cushions around playing position for the 2-7 combination, most likely. But the problem is getting from the 3 to the 4. That'll answer the question on whether or not he'll get out this rack or not. Now he's played position 3 cushions around playing position for the 2 in the other corner. This is better if he's able to attain a good angle on the 2, because you have to really position the cue ball accurately on the 3 in order to assure yourself a pretty good shot on the 4. That's
Well,
why I thought that he perhaps may have elected to go with the 2-7 combination and played the 2 out of the pocket.
You know what I like, Billy, here is if you shoot the 2 ball in the lower left-hand corner, shoot the 3 ball in the upper right-hand corner, and get position where you have a gap between. You're going in between where the 8 and the 9 are, and accepting a little more difficult shot on the 4.
I don't know if I like what he's done here. I don't think I like this.
Well, I liked stopping the ball or drawing it back just a little bit, where you have to cut the 3 ball to the left and go to the right side of the 8. That's the angle. That's the gap that I was talking about, but I didn't. I would have gone the other way to get there.
I would have too. I would have gone the other way myself, because there really wasn't any obstacles going the other way. The 2 obstacles that he had against him this way was, one was speed of the cue ball, and the other was the 8 ball, passing the 8 ball.
Right.
So therefore, shooting the 3 ball, cutting it in the corner pocket, using the short cushion in the side rail to attain the shot on the 4, I thought was a much safer route. And I think that most often you're going to achieve your goal most often if you choose that particular route. Right. I didn't like what he did by going to the end of the cushion. I don't know if he thought that out or not. Perhaps he did. Maybe he's right. You play close to the 8 here. You play for the side.
Anywhere above straight in on the 8 is fine. He's fallen well short.
Yes, he has, but
well
now he has to go to the corner, it looks like, unless he can go to the side. And so yeah, you got to play closer to the 8 than that.
I like playing this ball in the side, Billy, and go to the end rail first and back down.
He's ended up on the 50-yard line. Just a matter of preference right now, which shot he feels most comfortable pocketing and also attaining a shot on the 9 with. By going into the corner pocket with the 8, he's going to have to draw the cue ball down near the lower left-hand corner. Now that he should feel comfortable doing, okay? Mm-hmm. But that shot seems to play a little more difficult than cutting the 8 in the side. Now if you cut the 8 in the side, then you have to be concerned where, your priority then must be not only pocketing the 8, but your cue ball control. This is natural. If he makes the shot, this carries natural position. And then when you're a great shot maker like Archer is, the corner pocket seems more appealing. Game number 18 goes Archer, and all of a sudden this match is tied up. It hasn't been often when this match has been tied. I think it's only been tied twice in the entirety of the match. Throughout the entirety of the match, I think this is only the second time it's been tied. So it's tied up at 9 games apiece. Now don't forget, now Archer has been coming from behind the entire match. And I mentioned to you that's a lot of stress and a lot of wear on a person. So now we're at the crucial stage of the match. So if Archer falters here, it's because of his constant battle coming uphill, coming from behind, coming from behind, coming from behind. And also he's won a lot of short racks, so therefore, he should feel very fortunate to be in this position, and let's see if he can win the match from here.
Well, there could also be a little bit of an emotional letdown because he's like, finally, I got even. It can go either way.
No, I don't think we're going to find that because, Archer has the credentials to prove that he doesn't really let up.
Right.
So therefore, I think it's a matter of can he persevere here? Can he withstand all this pressure that he's been up against through the entirety of this match, which he has, by the way. This has been a constant battle uphill. Let's see if he's given the opportunity, if he can do well with him.
He's come up dry on the break, Billy. And that's more times than not, this match has been the case when he's been breaking the balls.
Well, Efren can't come off the left side of the 1 because the 6 and the 7 ball are very, very big obstacles in the possible path, in the path that he's going to have to use to come off the left side of the 1. He's opted to. That's no good. That's no good. He's allowed Archer at the table with control of the table now. Now Archer can either bank the 1 cross-side or play a safety. Either shot is okay because banking the 1 cross-side, providing that it goes, he can attain a shot on the 2 since the 2 ball is positioned near the bottom cushion. But of course he can entertain the thought of a safety here too. Notice all this string of balls, the 6, 7, 4, and 3. He can get something behind. Well, he obviously he attempted the bank cross-side and at the same time played a safety. Very, very heady shot.
Well, I kind of liked what you were talking about, Billy, and that being bringing the cue ball down into the area of the 3 and the 7 under that cluster of balls. The one disadvantage to that is that you would have left the 1 ball close to the 2. So if he had been able to possibly bank the 2, he just moved the 2 ball or the 1 ball away from the 2 and hooked him.
Yeah, but you really can't argue what he did. I mean, what he did was wonderful. Not only did he go for the win by banking the 1 cross-side, but he also hooked him behind the 2. You really can't ask for a better situation than that, providing that you can execute the shot and get rewarded for it, which he did. And now not only did he get rewarded for it, with the execution of the shot, but also Reyes scratching in the side pocket really is paying off for itself now. Position on the 2 ball is very crucial because he has to play very, very exact position on the 3. He would like to reposition the cue ball for the 3 near the side rail or near that cushion so he can make that 3-8 combination. That's the ideal position.
If he, looking at that, Billy, if he gets on the right-hand side cushion, he may elect to play the billiard on the 8, moving the 3 ball toward the left-hand corner, and where the 3 ball comes to rest.
No, that you're just complicating things there. I mean, if you can attain the angle for the combination, the 3 takes the place of the 8.
Right.
That's what he's going to try to do. He's not thinking of the billiard here. You have to get on this side of the 3.
I'm just saying if he doesn't get far enough to play the combination.
Oh well,
yeah.
If he plays himself out of position, then he has that option. I think he struck this a little too hard. Now he may have to play the billiard, but on the other side of the ball. Fortunately, he's going to be able to control the 3 ball and at the same time play the billiard. He would like to hit the 3 ball very thickly using the side cushion with the cue ball. He doesn't want to go directly into the 8. He wants to hit the side cushion first. A very soft. This is a very soft stroke here. He's a little afraid of the shot. Notice that he's really fearful of the shot, or else he would have already shot it. Now he's looking to see if he hits the 8 first, if he can get a double kiss and kiss it in that way, because by playing the side cushion, maybe he has to hit the 3 ball too hard.
Right.
Now it looks like that. Well, I don't know. The 3 left that bottom cushion far enough, I do believe, to give him enough of an angle to clear out of that problem area and get up table for the 4.
The biggest obstacle here is the pocket itself in the bridging. It's an awkward bridging situation. He has an angle on the 3 to go to the cushion and back up, play the 4 under him.
Oh, he's hit that very badly. Watch out. He's behind the 7. He's behind the 7. And the reason he's behind the 7 is because he cut the 3 ball too much. Had he hit it fuller, the cue ball would have then gone through the 3 ball, went to the cushion deeper near the left-hand lower corner pocket. It wouldn't have gotten behind the 7 ball. The reason he's behind the 7 is he cut the 3 more than he intended to. And that's the reason he's behind the 7. He should have been very, very thoughtful of that. I mean, he should have been thinking of that. But of course, once again, the problem David said was the pocket. The pocket may have, hampered his bridge enough so he really hit the ball inaccurately. Right. So the pocket could have caused that mistake.
What a crucial time to have that happen.
He hit that shot very nicely, but he hit it too hard. But it looks like he may have gotten away with it. I don't believe Reyes can pocket the 4 in the lower left-hand corner. Now he has 3 shots, and the shots in order of appeal are in the lower right, banking it right back, or playing it off the 9. But I think we're going to see him play it in the lower right-hand corner.
Very well struck.
Now Archer had an opportunity to get out that rack. The score is 9 games apiece. Just perhaps what I was talking about came into play there. Just perhaps that, all the stress and wear that he's been under this entire match fighting from behind maybe took its toll on him a little bit, and he mishit the 3.
Look out.
He's going to be all right in regard to...
I think the ball nestled under the cushion. It's under the point.
I don't know if it can possibly be under the point from this angle. I think he has to have a shot. He's struggling. He's struggling, Man. Well, if he's trying to make this particular game suspenseful, he's certainly doing his job there.
Absolutely.
Now let's see if he can do his job and get out. 9 games apiece. One of these guys got to go, both on the loser side. Very softly hit, very nicely executed,
nice shot.
And game number 19 is going to go to Reyes, and he's going to be the first player finding himself on the hill.
Well, they're making it exciting. The fans are getting their money's worth, to be sure. If suspense is what you want, that's what we got.
Six ball, nope. 2 ball, nope. 3 ball, nope. Nothing. Balls took their position. 2 in front of the side, 3 to the left of the 2, 4 to the left of the 3. 5 near the foot spot, 6 is all the way up table, 7 near the left side rail, 8 near this right side pocket, naturally the 9 in front of the lower left-hand corner. Pocketing the 1 shouldn't be a problem. Really, it shouldn't be a problem. He has a lot of bridge room, cue ball away from the side cushion far enough. It's a little bit of a longer shot than he would like, but of course it's a shot, and it's a good one.
This match has had Hill written on it from from the beginning.
Very nicely executed. That was the shot that he had to come with. That was the problem in this rack, because the situation that I see, the balls aren't laying that difficult. So therefore, the big problem in this rack for Archer, when he stepped to the table naturally, was pocketing the one. He's been able to do that. Now, what kind of an angle does he have on the two? If he can draw it straight back, naturally, that's what he'll do. Little doggish on the stroke there.
That was a little, yeah.
Because it was crucial for him to get straight in on the three. That made the rack play really simple. But now he's going to have to play the four in the right-hand side pocket.
Well, he just looked to see if the 5 ball passes the 9 in the lower left-hand pocket, and you know he's still got a little work if it doesn't.
Now he's found himself out of line once again. If the 5 does not pass into the lower left-hand corner pocket, he's really created a problem for himself.
Well, he's going to go 2 cushions or 1 cushion to the end rail and up. The 5 passes the 9.
Well, he's better, or else he's going to play a combination. On this shot, you really want to be near that bottom cushion. See, this might not be that good.
If it's on the rail, it's definitely not that good.
You know, you want to be near the bottom cushion on that shot, because you can sacrifice accuracy considering how closely the 6 is to the corner pocket. But when you're near the bottom cushion on that particular shot on the 6, you can do just about what you want with the cue ball. From this position, he's going to have to take a little, well, he's fine. I thought perhaps that he was in a more difficult position than what he was, because he certainly ended up in an ideal spot. Straight in on the 8 in the corner is fine, because it just cinched the 8. Doesn't even have to draw it back, because the 9 sits relatively close to the corner pocket. So therefore, all he needs to do now is pocket the 8 and just shoot the 9 in, take care of his business at hand, and we're going to see a hill-hill match.
Hill-hill, gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it, that's right. That's what we're used to with Efren and Archer. You know, the last time I think that they played here was a hill-hill match. That was one of the Accu-Stats mystery matches.
Somebody's got to go. Rolando Vincente just walked by the booth. That's Efren Reyes' partner, traveling companion, whatever. But they're always together.
Mm-hmm.
He's really supportive of Reyes all the time. Really a nice person, too, by the way. And Reyes is one of the fine gentlemen in the game today. Not only is, in my opinion, the best player in the world, he's probably one of the finest men in the game. Scott Smith, the tournament director, acknowledged the fact that one of these guys got to go, so he made a point to acknowledge the crowd that one of these guys got to go, so let's give them both a big hand, and that's what they did.
Well, the ball count has, we'll bring them up to date on statistics, the Accu-Stats, as it were. The ball count the gap has narrowed significantly. Johnny has now pocketed 64 balls, and Efren Reyes has pocketed 86 balls. The Accu-Stats are also closer, and Johnny has now taken the lead. Efren made a few mistakes to get to this point, and his Accu-Stat now is approximately in the 830 range, 834, if I count his errors correctly. And Johnny has raised significantly the last few games. He's run a lot of balls and not made many mistakes. And his is now at the, we're more accustomed to see at the 876 clip. So
Johnny was really undecided where to position the cue ball for this break. He was having a problem dealing with it also, because he wanted to put it in the center. He laughed, giggled, and said, I can't do that. I got to go back to where I was breaking them from, because I have better control of the cue ball. Because right now, the priority really comes, cue ball control is definitely the priority right now. He does have the cue ball control, but he made a ball on the break, the 7. It looks like he's got a shot. The 1-2 combination. He may even be able to pocket the 1 past the 2.
I don't believe he can pocket the 1 past the 2, Billy. I believe the 2 ball's a little too close to the cushion.
He's going to have to back cut the 1 into the 2. After pocketing the 2, the 1 will then hit the 4. Then he's going to have to get relief off of that bottom cushion with the cue ball. So therefore, I look for him to hit this shot with some speed, because he wants to clear the 4, and he also wants to get some relief off of that bottom cushion in terms of positioning the cue ball. So therefore, he's going to play the 1-2 combination. He's going to hit it with some speed. He's going to move the 4, and he's going to try to move that cue ball off that bottom cushion. He looked to see if the 1 could pass the 2. He doesn't like that, so he's going to have to play the combination. But most importantly, he's going to have to hit it with some speed. he thought that the 1 was going to hit the 4 like I did. But apparently it didn't. You know, what he did is he overcut the 1 because he overcut the 1. Had he not cut the 1 as thinly as he did, then the 1 would have went into the 4 after contacting the 2. But the 1 hit the 2 so thinly, it went around the 4,
right,
and he lost control of the cue ball.
That's exactly why the balls ended up where they are. I still think he shot it a little hard in
well,
any
no,
event.
he didn't shoot it as hard as it appeared. It appeared that he shot it hard because he lost the cue ball. He overcut the 1.
Right.
If he hits the 1 a quarter of an inch lower, or higher, I should say, then he doesn't get nearly the movement on the cue ball that we saw there.
Now he's got to play safe, and he's looking at a real ticklish safety to go behind the 4 ball with the cue ball.
The 1 ball skidded, and if the 1 ball wouldn't have skidded, he would have pocketed the 1 in the side pocket, because when I have a perfect view of this.
He got the hook.
When he hit the 1, it was going right for the side pocket, and then it turned. It skidded. Had it not skidded, he would have pocketed the 1. Can Reyes see the 1?
No, he cannot. I saw the expression on Johnny's face. He was doing his little dance and encouraging the cue ball up the table. I saw him stick his tongue out with a big smile, and
well, I'm going to tell you another thing. All right. Had not that shot skidded, the cue ball wouldn't have ended up where it did.
No, definitely not. That's right.
It looks like he can see this, because he's shooting straight at it.
He's going to the rail. Would you look at this shot? Look at this shot. Oh, my
well,
God.
you know, from the position that he was in, he did exactly what he had to do.
Man, he got the hook. If Johnny can hit the 1, it's only a sliver of the right-hand side.
Well, that's all he needs to see, because if he can see that, then that's exactly what he's going to be shooting for. But I don't even know if he can see any portion of the 1. He's looking to kick here, because if he can see the 1, then there's no indecision at all. He's going to have to hit the outside of the 1, and he may even get the cue ball behind the 5. Well, I was just informed that we're running out of tape, so if Johnny is really undecided what he needs to do, we have to change the tape. And there really isn't much we can do about this. And he's pondering over the situation, and it looks like we're going to be running out of tape. What a nightmare this is. What a match. If we run out of tape, I'm just going to cry. And all you viewers out there right now, you don't know if we run out of tape or not, do you?
Well, we don't want to miss.
I think we're going to change the tape right now. We'll catch you in a second.
Here we are. We're back. We're back. Okay. Just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time.
Pat, you did a good job. We're back on time. Well, he can hit the 1. He could hit the 1, I should say. And he has left Reyes the shot. He didn't hit the one as good as he could have. You know, he made two mistakes in the late part of the match. One was his inability to hit the one any more accurately than he just did. And the other mistake was when he shot from that lower right-hand corner pocket, he allowed the cue ball to get away from him, snookering him behind the 7. He missed it.
Efren missed the one.
He missed it. He missed it. He missed it. This is something that Archer really didn't figure to get. He's probably more surprised than anyone. He doesn't have an offensive shot, but he can see the 1 ball. The 5 ball is a very ugly looking ball as far as Archer's concerned, because what he would like to do is bank the 1 underneath the 3 going up table, but the 5 ball precludes him from doing that. So, but he can see that part of the 1, and he wasn't able to hook him on that shot either. So therefore, he is faltering late in this match.
Well, Efren is looking at. I don't believe we're going to see him shoot the 1 in the side, but he may position the cue ball behind the 6.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to position the cue ball behind the 6. It lays perfectly for him to do that.
Mm.
Now Archer doesn't have to be concerned about controlling the cue ball or doing anything else. He has to be concerned about hitting the 1, and his chances of hitting this 1 aren't very good.
No, they certainly are not.
His chances of hitting this 1 aren't very good. Matter of fact, I don't even see an accessible route to the 1.
Well,
unless he can go around the 9, I don't think he can go around the 9.
Between the 6 and the 8 to the end rail with a lot of right-hand spin, extremely difficult. I don't know if he can spin it enough.
He can't hit that part of the rail. He can't. The 6 ball precludes him from hitting that part of the rail near the lower right-hand corner.
I'm talking about to the end rail, to the first diamond with a lot of spin and go between the 6 and the 8 and hit it one rail.
You mean shorten the angle with a draw off of the short cushion?
I'm talking about going to the end cushion, right?
And shortening it with a draw. You draw it and you go back. You draw it.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can go back, by drawing it.
You got to hit it with a lot of right.
No, you need to draw it to back it up like that. Right, you'll slide. You won't get it to go back. You need the cue ball to draw the hook.
It looks to me like he can't hit that portion of the rail that he's aiming at. He can. Oh, what a hit! Oh, what a hit!
He could hit that part of the rail.
Wow.
I didn't think he could do that.
What a great shot! What a great shot!
It was a great shot, very timely too, I might add. You know, he ran the risk of scratching off the 1 had he shot the shot and executed it perfectly like he did, and he still had the problem of not scratching off the 1, which he avoided.
Efren played a great shot to put him behind the 6. Whew. Well, this is the kind of suspense that we really love to see, and we really, we've come to expect it from these two guys. It's quite a rivalry they've developed.
What sort of wizardry are we about to see here?
We're going to see him go.
That's what's next on the agenda. So give me a menu and let me order. Let me order something from the menu. I'll order a kick, 2 cushion, hook safety.
Oh my gosh. This is anything you can do. I can do better.
Now, does the good doctor have the prescription for this?
It's getting comical. Now, Johnny's laughing. He's like, well,
it just seems like an endless battle here. I mean, anyone in the tournament would have lost a match 2 or 3 times by this time. It takes players like this to sustain the suspense.
That's exactly right, Billy. And it's a testament to both of their skill, nerve, and knowledge.
Matter of fact, if he doesn't come up with something spectacular, everyone's going to be disappointed because they want to see this go on for about 5 or 10 more minutes.
Well, Johnny's going to go 1 cushion above the side. I think he'll hit it with enough speed to try to create distance between the 1 and the cue ball.
Now look at this. He made a bank across corner. Right back. But don't forget, Not only did he make the bank right back, but there's still suspense because he doesn't have a shot. So therefore, the people who out here who paid their money to watch this certainly have gotten more than their money's worth.
Absolutely.
And anyone that buys this tape should call Pat up and say, listen, I owe you extra for this.
What do you think he's going to go up table with the cue ball? He's going to go off of his left side of the 3. Use the 5 to block.
Okay, let's see what he's left Reyes. Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
But he has left Reyes a possible masse kick.
I think we're probably going to see Efren go around the either between the 8 and the side pocket, 2 cushions, and back kick the 3.
No, he won't back kick the 3 because he runs the risk of scratching there.
That's true.
So therefore, he's knowledgeable enough to know that I can't do that. Look for something better.
Well, we saw him at the U.S. Open kick a shot like this in. It was a 6-ball, and it was the same kind of situation.
What he's looking at now, he's looking to see what part of the reel he needs to hit the 3 ball on the right-hand side, sending the 3 ball to the short rail, the side rail, I should say, the side rail, and back across table somewhere in the area of where the 9 is, maybe slightly higher. And at the same time, the cue ball will then depart that area after hitting the 3 and then go down table near the short rail. Now that shot was hard to describe. Just think about how hard it would be to execute.
That's exactly right.
Now he doesn't really want to hit deeply behind the 3. He wants to hit the side of the 3 here if he can. So he hit the side of the 3. That way he wouldn't scratch. So what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here?
Oh my gosh.
Let us see.
Oh my God, look at Johnny.
From my vantage point, he has positioned the 3 behind the 8. Okay, now Archer can do 2 things here. Archer can do 2. This is really.
It's unbelievable.
Let me find the right word for this. This is really unpredictable. This is really spectacular. This is really suspenseful.
What would Dick Vitale say? It's awesome, baby.
Oh.
It might take a little while to dub a few copies of this tape, but they will be available after this match.
Okay, now he can do 2 things here. He can go after everything and masse it, or he can very softly kick from the bottom cushion and lay on the 3 with the cue ball. Now those are his 2 options, because if you notice, the 6 ball blocks the lower left-hand corner pocket, so therefore he may be able to very softly kick onto the 3 without really, suffering any consequence in regard to giving up an offensive shot. Now this is the shot to win, is the masse shot. This is the shot that he can win with, but he has to hit this shot hard enough so that if he doesn't shoot it and hit it accurately, the 3 ball will leave the area of the corner pocket and not allow Efren an offensive shot.
And in case he happens to let up even the slightest amount on his stroke, he could hit the 8.
I don't think we're going to see him hit the 8. We're going to either see him pocket the 3. Now he has hit it hard enough so the 3 leaves. And now he's put him behind the 4. Maybe not. Maybe he could see the outside. But notice, he hit it hard enough so that the 3 didn't stay in front of the corner pocket had he hit it inaccurately. Reyes steps to the table. Can he see the outside of the 3?
There have been 11 shots since the last ball was pocketed. No, that's not true. Johnny pocketed a ball, but in the last 11 innings, 1 ball has been pocketed.
Now what is he doing?
He's just kidding.
Uh-oh. And I wouldn't feel a bit comfortable if I was Archer, because I know that Archer has seen this many times in the past. He's seen this show before.
Yes.
And it's not over until it's over. You could ask Earl Strickland about that.
Well, to go to the end rail between the 6 and 8 to the upper left-hand side rail, he could cut the 3 in. If he doesn't cut it in, he could end up safe. If he hits it thick, the cue ball could get behind the 9.
He's going another route there. He's going 3 cushions, and he's going to hit it with speed and a low ball. He's going to draw this to keep the cue ball on the table. He's going to hit it with speed.
In the side?
And look at this.
Is it going in the side?
Oh
my gosh.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that was so close. Okay, Archer has come up with a shot. But keep in mind, this battle was wearing. It was a wearing battle on the nerves of both of these players. Archer has a fairly good shot, and it looks like he has a golden opportunity to win this match. But keep in mind, he's been under a lot of stress.
Oh my gosh, he almost hit the 5.
So if he gets out here, trust me, it's a lot more difficult than it looks. This man is tired right now. Trust me, he is very, very tired. He's tired of watching Reyes continuing his assault in terms of playing excellent safeties, excellent kicks. He's tired of thinking that, oh, I'm going to finally get a shot and not having ever coming up with one. Ordinarily, he would have shot this by now. Had this been some other match with the score being 2-1, he would have been on the 8 by now.
That's exactly right.
So therefore, the need to be concerned is there, and it's obvious. Everything is like, oh, not right there. Oh, I went an inch too far, an inch too left. I mean, this is really a lot of pressure for him right now because he's really, really worn. Anything will bother him right now. He's looking at the other end of the other. He's looking down at the other end of the floor. What for? I don't know. Okay, that's over, and I'm certainly sure he's glad that's over. He's finally positioned the cue ball in a good position, but he doesn't like it because it's near the cushion. But the angle's there. All he needs to do is pocket the 6. The shot lays natural for him to fall perfectly for the 8. But he don't like it because he's against the cushion. He'll make this shot 100 times in a row practicing.
He's a little fidgety.
Okay, I think he feels good about himself right now. His position seems to be, pretty cleared up. All he needs to do now is pocket the 8, follow down, and then pocket the 9 and win. Oh, he pocketed the 8 in the wrong side of the pocket. Positioned the cue ball near the cushion. Look at him. He's out of gas. If this was a race to 15, I don't know if he could finish it.
He's got to play right back, too.
Oh, my. I'm telling you, he was, trust me, he was out of gas. But I'll tell you, what a match.
That was some match.
What a match.
Some match. You know how close Efren came to making that 3 ball in the side?
See, that's where all that pressure, that's how it takes an effect on a player, I mean, that was more or less what you consider a kind of a routine out. But there was so much pressure in that match, particularly the last 5 or 6 sequences of shots, with the safety battle and the hooks and everything, And I know that he was totally worn, and it showed. But but he was able to get the job done.
So we're going to do an interview. Here comes the main man.
Okay, here's Johnny Archer. You just made an appearance into the booth. But the first question, first things first. Congratulations. Do you have the strength to say thanks?
Actually, I do. Yeah. It was a hard-fought match, because I couldn't seem to get my break going where I could make a ball, consistently. And Efren seemed he was making balls early, and then he kind of come up dry the last 2 or 3 times, which was a good time for it. But whenever you're out there and you're not making balls, that means there's 9 balls on the table, so it's actually going to be tough to get out. So whenever you do get up there, you have 9 balls to run or 8 balls, and usually if the guy shoots before you, so it's going to be something tough. So it's just a momentum match that neither one of us could ever get any real good momentum going.
Well, the way I viewed the match, Johnny, was a very grueling match in terms of stress and pressure on you, because you were the player that had to come from behind through the entirety of the match. You were always looking at least a 1 to 2 game deficit throughout the entire match. And I commented to David over here, I said, this is really wearing on a player, because when you're always looking to come from behind, you're always a game and 2 games behind, there's a lot of stress that you're under. And now this last game, I mean, there was so much pressure out there that last game, because you figure you're going to get a shot, you figure you're going to get a shot, and you get heartbroken. You don't come up with a shot when you know you're supposed to. And that happened to 2 or 3 times to both of you guys. And finally you got a shot, and I said to David, does he have enough left to get out?
Actually, I was, I asked myself the same thing. All I wanted to do was just, I didn't really want to say, well, do I have the strength to get out? I want to say, well, do I have the strength to make the first ball? And then do I have the strength to make the second ball? That's the only way I can view the whole table whenever I did decide to get up there. Because like you said, it was hard. The last game must have took 15 minutes, and it was kicking here and safe there. And,
oh, yeah.
And, we must have both kicked 4 times apiece. And, that's definitely one for the highlight reel there. So,
well, quite honestly, it's probably the most suspenseful game that I've ever had really the pleasure of watching. It was a pleasure for me, not for you. Even now, it probably wasn't a pleasure for you, but
it'll
for
take me a little bit near
yeah.
the pleasure, yeah.
But I know that you got to play right back. We don't want to keep you long.
Well,
so.
I don't play the 7, so I have a little while. But just one thing about it, Efren is just such a tough player. He's always been hard for me, and I remember one year there, a couple years I went, I was beating him pretty regularly, and then next thing I know, it actually switched the opposite way, and so he's actually been really tough for me in the last year and a half, 2 years. So it's really a thrill to beat him, and he's a great gentleman, great ambassador of the game.
You two have created quite a rivalry, and it's always great to watch the 2 of you play, because the level of play is going to be so high, and that it's going to be a close match.
It happens that way.
Right.
Just like I watched Efren play a couple of his first matches, he didn't play that well, and he missed 2 or 3 shots. And then today I didn't play extremely well in my matches, but it was something when we both got up there and played. We both played like we were supposed to. And,
right.
I guess that's why it come down to 11-10. And with this new break rule we have with the break box, you're going to see more matches that close.
Right.
I
and
agree
more
with that.
grueling matches. So it's guys going to have stamina from now on.
Congratulations, Johnny.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
The tournament started with 58. There's 80 is left. There's 4 on the loser side, 4 on the winner side. What's your opinion on who do you feel is the toughest opponent for you right now in the tournament, and how do you think about your chances now?
It's hard to say. My toughest opponent to me is myself. I feel like if I can get up and play my game, get a few shots here and there, I feel like I can hold my own. But you can name any of them. There's Davenport on the loser side. There's Adam.
Buddy's playing great.
Buddy's playing great on the winner side. Nick Varner, he's on the winner side. Rodney Morris beat me last night and played. He just played probably a 950 match. So
right.
And I watched his next match. He might have played better. So he's
right.
just he's really playing well. Then the other guy on the winner side, who is that? That's Buddy and Rodney and
Robles.
Nick and Robles beat Efren. So
But you know something? I'm really surprised at you, Johnny.
What's that?
What about your roommate?
Oh, he's a chop. No, actually, I didn't even think of Tony. You're exactly right. Actually, I didn't. I apologize for that.
He's turning red. I like that.
Yeah,
You got him, Billy.
I didn't think of him, but he's tough, and he's playing well. I'm watching him. He's going through the loser side, and Tony's said he's been practicing really well and got ready for the series that we're having, these 15 tournaments. So everybody's tough. I don't really have a special pick, maybe.
Okay, anyways, thanks for stopping up. Get yourself something to eat, freshen up, and come on back at 'em.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Billy, it's more fun than a barrel of monkeys, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a spectacular match, and more than a spectacular finish. That match was really worth the price of admission, triple. And I'm sure that Pat's going to sell a lot of tapes of that particular match. Matter of fact, there's a line of people right up there now in line, signing up
to order for that match.
Yeah. So we're going to close it up, David, okay? It's been really a pleasure working with you. This
you,
match
Billy.
made it a lot easier for both of
Right,
us
right.
because, I mean, the stuff that those guys do make it easy for us.
That's exactly right.
So on behalf of David Maddox, this is Bill in Kedona saying thanks a lot for supporting Accu-Stats. Call Pat Fleming, 1-800-828-0397, and ask him about other exciting matches in the inventory list. Thank you.
I certainly hope you enjoyed the double hill thriller between Johnny Archer and Ephraim Reyes, along with the expert commentary of Bill Incardona and Dave Maddox. In this segment of the tape, I'm going to take you through 25 of the shots that were especially entertaining and instructive. Most of the shots demonstrate the pros executing with great precision. However, even champions like Archer and Reyes will make mistakes, so we'll cover some of their errors as well. On several shots, we'll go over alternative shots, including shots where the amateur's best choice may differ from the pro's shot selection. This section makes full use of special effects such as slow motion, freeze frame, and the telestrator. Many shots, in fact, are viewed at least twice at regular speed and in slow motion. I advise that you make full use of your player's rewind button so you can master each lesson completely. You should also plan on spending time at the table playing the shots. So let's get started now on our review of this incredible match. Archer just pocketed 2 balls in the opening break and was faced with a long-distance position play that forced him to send the cue ball across table twice through traffic. Archer used a medium hard stroke with low left English to create the desired path. Speed control was a major challenge since he needed to avoid a hook behind the 3-ball or a scratch in the side pocket. Archer got off to a strong start, which sent a message to Reyes that he was on his game and ready to play. While Reyes is undoubtedly prepared for great play from Archer, a lesser player may be intimidated by a break and run in the very first game, especially if they have a weak mental game. It's easy to lose position on a combination if you're not careful. Knowing this, Reyes made sure to play the 8-ball in the far right side of the pocket, which enabled him to maintain control of the 1-ball. If he had played the 8-ball into the middle of the pocket, he could have easily lost position on the 1. The cue ball and 1-ball could have easily ended up in these positions if Reyes had not been so careful with pocketing the combo. The big key to playing position in combos is to carefully consider where both the cue ball and the object ball are likely to end up. If the first ball hits the object ball at point X, where will the first ball and the cue ball end up? That's the key question. On the previous shot, Reyes came up short of the position zone, which left the cue ball on the wrong side of the 7-ball. If the cue ball had rolled a few inches further into the position zone, Reyes would have been on the right side of the 7-ball. He could have then flowed the cue ball over to position X for short side shape on the 8-ball, making this a routine run out. I'm glad Reyes came up short of ideal position, or else we wouldn't have been treated to what commentator Dave Maddox referred to as a Mike Massey draw shot. This 3-rail power draw shot is certainly not the kind of position route you would play for on purpose, but it is useful in recovering position following an error. Now let's take a closer look at this super shot in slow motion. Reyes recognized the difficulty of this shot as he used 6 full warm-up strokes compared to his average of less than 5. Even though this shot was hit with an extremely hard stroke, Reyes' transition from the backstroke to the forward stroke was silky smooth. Reyes stayed down this shot until well after contact. His follow-through on a power draw shot features a large elbow drop, which demonstrates his unrestricted follow-through. Notice how the cue ball bends dramatically on its way to the first rail. As Archer enters the picture, you can see him eye the target zone for the safety he was about to play. This was not a difficult safety, but it does require reasonably precise execution. Archer was up to the task as he sent the cue ball on a precise 2-rail path behind the 8-ball. On this shot, Archer had the luxury of 2 possible blockers. Imagine you were playing this safe and the 7-ball wasn't there. Now you'd have to get behind the 8. This type of safety comes up over and over again, so I suggest you practice it from several locations. When the cue ball is going to hit another ball after contact with the object ball, you need to prepare for shape off the second ball. After pocketing the 2-ball, Reyes sent the cue ball into near perfect contact with the 6, which killed the cue ball, giving him shape on the 3-ball. Now let's go back to the point of contact with the 2-ball. When hitting another ball for shape, you must make an accurate estimate of the cue ball's path after contact with the object ball. Determine what would be the point of contact if the cue ball had followed the tangent line, and make the necessary adjustments, if any. If the cue ball had hit either side of the 6-ball, Reyes could easily lost position on the 3-ball. For example, if he'd hit the right side of the 6, the cue ball would have taken off to the right as the arrow shows. If he'd used follow and hit the left side of the 6-ball, the cue ball might have taken off to the left. In either case, he would have lost shape. The 3 possible primary elements of a successful position play are shot making, speed control, and directional control. On this shot by Reyes, each element posed a major challenge. For starters, Reyes was faced with a table-length 75-degree cut shot. In addition, he needed to send the cue ball 2 full table lengths with near-perfect speed control. And finally, his directional control had to be flawless to avoid tying up the balls or getting hooked. Now let's see how Reyes fared. Reyes was able to pocket this difficult table-length cut shot. In addition, his speed control was nearly perfect. If Reyes had hit the shot a slight bit easier, he would have avoided tying up the 3 and 9 balls. And if he had had just slightly better line, he could have also avoided tying up the balls. As matters would have it, the cue ball came down, barely brushed the 3-ball, and then actually went over for perfect shape on the 2, but unfortunately in the process tying up the 3 and the 9 balls. On difficult shots like this, the margin of success and failure is sometimes agonizingly small. So when you play a fine shot like this and it goes unrewarded, take heart because you gave it an excellent effort and the pool gods now owe you one. Now let's go back to the original position. Another option for amateurs and even some pros would have been to bank the 1-ball softly up the side rail while using either the 6 or 8-ball as a blocker. Reyes barely missed hooking Archer with a long-distance safety, leaving Archer with his demanding shot on the 1-ball. Archer surveyed the shot down the tangent line to the 9-ball from position X. He discovered that all he had to do was make the 1-ball with a long-distance stun shot to also make the 9. This shot required an extremely hard stroke while striking the cue ball just enough below center so that it had neither any topspin nor backspin at the moment of contact with the 1. I rate this shot about a 9.8 on the 10 scale for several reasons. Archer had to bridge over the pocket. The cue ball only had about a 1/4 inch clearance past the 5-ball. The 1-ball is about 2.5 feet from the pocket, and the cue ball is almost the maximum distance from the 1. And to top things off, Archer is going to play the 9-ball in the same shot. Archer has finished his planning, so now let's watch him through the execution phase of the shot cycle. Archer took 8 warm-up strokes on this shot, well over his average of about 3 1/3. When faced with a tough shot, take a little more time getting set and add some warm-up strokes to your routine. This will allow you to lock in your aim. Notice in slow motion how well Archer stayed with the shot while the cue ball has traveled all the way to the 1-ball. Observe how the cue ball traveled precisely down the tangent line to the 9-ball. The key is to concentrate on making the first ball. If you play it perfectly, the second ball should be almost automatic. There's really less pressure on hard shots because you know you aren't expected to make them every time. This should free you up and relax you so you can give it your best shot. Remember, on hard shots, it's all about execution. Archer had an opportunity to hook Reyes, but he hit the 6-ball just a hair too thin, leaving Reyes with a safety or a shot. If Archer had hit the 6-ball a little fuller, the cue ball would have taken path A to the hook zone. Fuller contact with the 6 would have sent it further up the table, which would have brought the 7 ball and 8 ball into play as potential blockers. Whenever you play a safety, pay attention to how much of the ball you're hitting and carefully observe your results. This will instill the correct contact on successful shots. You also learn how to adjust your aim next time if you make a mistake. Reyes took only 7 seconds in the preparation phase of the shot cycle for this high-speed bank shot. There was little doubt he was going to go for the bank instead of the safety. Reyes used a very hard stroke to send the cue ball 3 rails for shape on the 7. Most bank shots are played with cut angles far less steep than those encountered on ordinary cut shots. So on bank shots with a small cut angle, a very powerful stroke is needed to send the cue ball a long distance for position. On Reyes' bank, we can see how fully the 6 was hit, and yet Reyes was able to send the cue ball 3 rails for shape on the 7 ball thanks to his very powerful stroke. Now let's back up to Reyes' original position. In this situation, most amateurs and even some top players may be better off playing safe. Even though the 7, 8, and 9 balls are widely spaced, they can still serve as an effective multi-ball hook zone. Reyes had played an excellent recovery shot on the 3 ball, which put him in perfect position for the 2-rail route from the 4 to the 5. The big key was controlling the cue ball's direction to the first rail, which Reyes accomplished by using the correct amount of draw. If he had used too much draw, he could have scratched, and if he had failed to apply sufficient draw, the cue ball could have run into the 9. When you can consistently come close to the corner pockets without scratching, this is another strong indicator that you are well on your way to mastering cue ball control. Reyes exercised superb touch on his two-way shot as he floated the cue ball over behind the blockers, while the 2 ball barely missed finding the upper left corner pocket. If the bank had fallen, Reyes would have had an ideal position on the 3 ball. As it matters would have it, Archer wound up facing a kick shot to the open end of the table, where the chances of a sellout were very likely. The tangent line from the point of contact to the hook zone points exactly down the line Reyes used. This shot required the correct amount of draw and perfect speed. If Reyes had made the mistake of hitting the bank safety too firmly, as there is a tendency on this shot, the 2 ball might have rebounded far enough down the table so Archer would have had a clear shot at the 2 ball. Keep a sharp lookout for offensive safeties like this, as they give you 2 chances to win on the same shot. Speed control and directional control are both a challenge on this 3-rail around the table position route. On this shot, Reyes' frame of reference was restricted because the cue ball and the 2 ball were so close together, which made this shot even tougher. Reyes was up to the task as he played the shot perfectly. Some of the potential dangers of this shot would include A, hitting the 4 ball, B, coming up short of the position zone because of the fear of scratching, C, winding up with a very shallow angle or no angle on the 3 ball, and D, scratching in the corner pocket. On shots like this, you've got to dig into your reservoir of pool knowledge, plan your route carefully, develop a heightened sense of feel while warm-up stroking, and then let the shot go with a smooth and confident stroke. Once Reyes makes up his mind about a shot, he doesn't waste time letting anxiety build up about the possible result. This powerhouse follow shot required pinpoint accuracy as Reyes was shooting off the rail while using an extremely hard stroke with inside English. Wow. To top things off, Reyes sent the cue ball into a small and distant position zone. Observe in slow motion how Reyes stayed locked in position until the cue ball contacted the 6 ball. Notice also the length of his follow-through, which once again features a substantial dropping of the elbow after contact. Notice that his grip hand is very relaxed. For those who lack Reyes' firepower, it may be comforting to know that there were a couple of options for playing safe on the 6 ball. One is to bank the 6 ball up near the 7, leaving the cue ball possibly behind the 9. Another possible safety is to double bank the 6 ball to the bottom end rail while sending the cue ball to the opposite end of the table. Either of these safeties are good choices if you feel you aren't in peak form or if you prefer a more conservative style of play. Archer's position play skills were put to the test on this exacting 2-rail position play. If he'd used a little more draw, the cue ball could have run into the 5 ball when it bounced off the side rail. And if he'd used a little less draw, the cue ball would have run into the 5 after rebounding from the end rail. Proper cueing was the big key to this shot. Archer used a 2-rail follow shot with inside English to send the cue ball across the table from the 5 to the 6 ball. The cue ball entered the end rail at a 71-degree angle. The inside left English opened up the rebound angle substantially off the top rail, sending the cue ball across the table for the 6 ball. Archer's position on the 6 ball allowed him to play a natural 2-rail route to the 7 ball, allowing him to go down the line for shape, which is always the preferred method for playing shape on a ball when it's in the middle of the table. Archer prefers to place his bridge hand on the table if possible. In this same position, Reyes would use a long rail bridge. Archer sent the cue ball across the table twice and into the position zone for excellent shape on the 9 ball. Path A has many advantages over Path B. Using Path A, you have a very long position zone as shown between the 2 yellow marks. In addition, when the cue ball bounces off the left side rail, you're going directly at the 9 ball, so there's very little chance of losing position. Using Route B, you can see that the distance between the 2 yellow lines indicates a small position zone. If you were to overrun the zone, you could easily wind up with a difficult shot on the 9 ball, or no shot at all. Playing a 3-rail route across the ideal position angle is not easy, but Archer really had no choice. His route and speed control were absolutely perfect. If the cue ball had stopped a foot short of position A, he would have had a testy cross-table cut on the 2. Archer would have faced a 52-degree cut shot on the 2 ball if the cue ball had come to rest a foot past the ideal position at position B. You must first decide on your position, route, and your cueing. Then while you're warm-up stroking, something must click in your mind that tells you exactly how fast you'll need to accelerate the cue on the final stroke. Then you must make a commitment to that speed, trust your judgment, and let the shot go. Archer studied the table for nearly 50 seconds before he finally decided to take advantage of his shot-making skills by playing the 8 into the upper left corner pocket. All Archer had to do was make the 8 ball with a medium hard stroke and a quarter tip of draw, and he would have ideal position on the 9. The shot to the side was easier, but Archer would have had to send the cue ball to the far end of the table and back while avoiding a scratch or some other error. If he went to the end rail down path A, he would be playing to the short side of the 9 ball, as you can see that it's to the left of the line that goes down the center of the table. If he chose to go to the long side down route B, the ideal position to aim for is shown by number 1, slightly short of straight in. This gives you a margin of error should you be offline and the cue ball would be traveling towards the corner pocket. If you came up short at position 2, you would still have a makeable cut on the 9 ball. And if you overran position to position 3, you'd actually have a straight in on the 9 ball. So by playing down route B, you have several chances to come up with good position playing onto this long side route. Reyes used a medium hard stroke with low right English for this long cut shot, which was all the more difficult because of the distraction created by the 8 ball. Reyes ended up a few inches short of perfect shape on the 5 ball, as shown by the white telestrated ball. Even though his shape was not ideal, Reyes was still shooting, which gave him the opportunity to recover shape and continue his run. If the cue ball had traveled a few more inches, as shown by the yellow ball, he wouldn't have had to elevate for the 5 on the next shot. Reyes' partial mistake on the 4 ball forced him to jack up for the 5 ball. Reyes slightly overcut the 5, which increased the cue ball speed coming off the rail and altered its path to the 6 ball. This is why he almost scratched in the side pocket. If Reyes had cleanly pocketed the 5, the cue ball would have traveled to a position similar to that shown by the yellow cue ball. When Reyes, who's one of the most accurate shot makers in the world, shoots a ball into the edge of the pocket and fails to get ideal position, you can be pretty sure that he made a pocketing error. Notice in slow motion that the 5 entered into the far left side of the pocket. Archer was trailing 10-9 in this pressure-packed race to 11 when he stepped to the table for this lengthy shot on the 1 ball. Archer took his time getting set with the ball, used 5 warm-up strokes to lock in his aim, and confidently fired the 1 ball into the center of the pocket. He then ran out, setting the stage for one of the most exciting double hill games in history. Notice how still Archer is over the shot and how he remained rock solid even though the cue ball is far down the table. This shot shows how top players focus their energies exclusively on the shot in a pressure situation and not on what's at stake. In similar situations, you will see far too many players jump up prematurely in anticipation of a poor result. With the game and the match on the line, Archer took over 70 seconds to consider his options in preparing for this match-saving kick shot. Notice how he surveyed the table from various angles and how he used his cue as a guide while going through his evaluation. Archer's patience and never-say-die attitude were rewarded as he discovered a 3-rail route to the 1 ball and made solid contact, hooking Reyes. You might feel uncomfortable holding up play, but on key shots and with a match on the line, you must discipline yourself to take as much time as you need, within reason of course. Carefully explore your options, make a firm decision, commit to a course of action, and give it your very best effort. Strategic kick shots beat the hope I can hit it and pray approach to kicking that is used in the early stages of a player's development. As your kicking skills grow, you should continue to refine your targets by aiming for specific parts of the ball. Reyes answered Archer's match-saving kick with this precisely executed gem. Reyes carefully plotted his course, then made solid contact with the 1 ball, almost pocketed in the side, and wound up separating the balls. As a bonus, he was able to hook Archer. This view shows the cue ball at the moment it struck the 1 ball. Reyes hit the correct part of the 1 to kill the cue ball and send the 1 to the opposite end of the table, hooking Archer. A year earlier in the finals of the Sands 21 tournament, Reyes faced almost certain defeat when he made perhaps the most astounding kick shot in the history of the game to beat Earl Strickland at the wire 13-12. If Reyes had pocketed the kick you're about to see, the crowd would have exploded, Reyes almost certainly would have run out, and the announcers would have paid due tribute to his legendary kicking skills. But the kicking game is a fickle beast. Sometimes a well-played kick is destined for the pocket, and on others the pool gods have simply determined it is not your time to win. Here it is, the margin of victory and defeat. 21 games of pool, and it all came down to a 2-rail kick shot that missed by less than 1 inch. Archer showed the effects of this grueling game and match as he took considerably more time than usual on what for him would normally be a routine run-out. His careful approach was much better than rushing things, which many players are prone to do under the pressure of a double hill game. Position from the 5 ball to the 6 ball was the key shot of the run. The shallow 15-degree cut angle on the 5 ball forced Archer to use a very hard stroke. He was able to avoid both the side pocket and a possible hook behind the 8 ball on his way to a match-winning run-out. An alternate route to the 6 ball would have been to play shape on the other side of the 5 ball at position A. A send shot would have sent the cue ball down the tangent line to position B. The big advantage to this route is that it takes the side pocket out of play as well as a possible hook behind the 8-ball. I hope you enjoyed our journey through this exciting match and that the play of these great champions can help you to raise your game to a whole new level. I would like to thank Pat Fleming and the crew of Accu-Stats for being there to film this match, and also special thanks goes to Merlin Glodick for his work in producing this video. Thanks also to Bill Incardona, who did a superlative job describing the match, and to Dave Maddox, who was his partner in the booth. A big thank you also goes to Johnny Archer and Ephraim Reyes, who entertained us and educated us with their incredible feats of cue wizardry. Finally, I would like to thank you for your interest and support of my books, as it has enabled me to continue my research into the mysteries and magic of our great sport. I look forward to sharing my discoveries with you in the years ahead. Until next time, may the full gods be with you.